of July. I am Bosun Namafayi. Let's get the show started. And what you're going to be seeing on the screen is this multi-story, multi-million naira building, which the anti-graft agency, the EFCC, yesterday handed over to Nigeria's state radio network, Voice of Nigeria. It was a multi-million naira building which was seized by the agency from one of Nigeria's former defense chief, Alex Bade. So that's the building there. I think about a 6-story building. Now the headquarters for the operations of the Voice of Nigeria. That's the radio network belonging to the Nigerian government. The EFCC yesterday handed the keys over and says that the war against corruption is continuing. According to the EFCC, within a few years, the agency says we have moved from stolen billions to stolen trillions, and says that yesterday's event goes a long way to prove to critics that the President Buhari's administration's war against corruption is real. Quote, the battle has come to stay. Meantime, talking about financial crimes, something along the same corridor, the SEC yesterday deepened its relationship with the Nigeria's Financial Intelligence Unit, the NFIU, closing ranks to deal with insider dealings, the resurgence of Ponzi schemes or illegal investment schemes, cybercrime, and other securities market-related fraudulent activities. They put pen to paper on Wednesday, and that is deepening the SEC's move to regulate the market a lot better. The SEC has a similar relationship with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Meantime, you're looking at the marketplace. Let's get back to Lagos, where the home of the markets. Yields and short-dated treasuries continue to tumble on Market Street, hitting a lower single digit of average 9.8% on Wednesday at the secondary window. Spot rates at the central bank primary market auction declined to 9.74% for 91-day paper, 10.75% on 182 days, and 11.13% on 364-day instruments. The market is now adjusting to the central bank new directive to increase banks' lending to the real sector. Ayodeji Ebo tweeting, or at his Twitter handle at Ebo Ayodeji, says banks are now competing to buy off existing loans and refinance at cheaper rates. Means gradually interest rates may come down. He also tweeted this morning that the banks are also introducing monthly rates to compete with the fintech guys, also reviewing business proposals more closely now. Part of this conversation, we're part of what we'll be discussing later on the show today. But let's check in with what else is making news on Market Street. Chapel Hill Denham Advisory has notified the public of Series 5 offering of a 16.27 billion naira of its 200 billion Nigerian Infrastructure Debt Foundations program, which was floated a few years ago. This is the Series 5 out of that 200 billion. The new offer, which is selling at 108 naira 45 kobo per note of 150 million units, will be closing in August at the Asian cost of 1.2% of the offer size. And of course, as expected, the planned listing on the FMDQ Securities Exchange PLC. The NIDF was introduced in June 2017 by Chapel Hill Denham, which the company says has delivered a total return of 55.4% if you reinvested your entire cash dividends and the cash yield generated on the NIDF above federal government's 10-year Naira paper. So let's check through with the stock market, Temple Ashaju, and the rest of the marketplace on Market Street, live from our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Temple, our business correspondent, is live to you right now. Good morning, Temple. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bosun.
Great. So let's touch base with you as far as the market number is concerned. This market is still very slippery, but the unlisted securities seem to have a finish off Wednesday with a very big rally, nearly 1.5%.
Lost some 77 billion naira plus yesterday in the equities market. That's because we saw some serious sell pressure on that side of the market yesterday, which was Wednesday, the 17th of July. Of course, there isn't any catalyst in the market. There is no news to really drive up performance still, and that's why things are still the way they are. And we also continue to have some key investors selling down their equities, their interest in equities, to then go further and invest in the fixed income market. That's the kind of sentiment we're seeing. Some also taking advantage of the NASD OTC, which is the unlisted securities market, as you said. And of course, that kind of sentiment expanded the year-to-date performance of the markets to 10.78%. The month-to-date performance was also really, really negative yesterday. And if you check through the activity level of the market, you'll see that volume was really high yesterday by some 12.42%. Ditto for the value of the transactions that we saw cutting through the market yesterday. For the likes of the GT Bank, which is an A-list stock here in the market, you realize that it was the top traded security yesterday, losing some 1.02% of its share price. And that tells you that investors are really not bullish on stocks now. So they see the bearish sentiment has continued to expand in the market. Just a few stocks basically went on the beat cut yesterday. AG Leventis, for example, was a major stock that they made some gains. It did some 10%, and that's because when the market is really, really lackluster like this, you get to see investors trying to rummage through the market, look at some stocks that are less active, and see how they can take advantage of that, pending when some other investors will come in and then, buy off the interest that they've seen in it. So that's where they can make some profits. That's the kind of sentiment we're seeing now. If you look at the sectoral front, things are not too good. All the major sectors of the market are down. The NSE 30 on its own was also down yesterday. The banking side stocks were down. Almost all the banks were in the negative territory yesterday. Consumer goods side of the market was also bearish yesterday. You have Guinness, Flour Mills, Unilever all facing south yesterday. Industrial goods side of the market, Dangote was down, WAPCO was down, no longer the toast of the market as it used to be in recent time. If you look at the oil and gas as well, Forte Oil yesterday lost so much, some 0.8% in recent time, has really, really been deeping. In that way, however, some smart investors will do their valuations, check the number of days that company has actually lost for, and then put some money on ground to see how it rises again. Then they can take profit before you then see some negative sentiments resuming on that. For Total, in spite of some initiatives with some partners yesterday, also experienced a bit of losses, marginally down 0.08%. For the unlisted securities market, things are positive, perhaps because the NASD OTC had its annual general meeting yesterday, where they actually explained the fact that they've been able to make some good gains. It looks like possibly in 2019, they will come up with some kind of reward for investors who have been patient over time. Because again, look at the USI, it's been sustainable for the greater part of last year till now. It's at the 700 psychological mark. The market capitalization has also been very, very positive in recent times, and we've seen some good activities around it. But basically yesterday alone, CSCS and WAMCO were the two key companies that contributed to the 9 number of deals that we saw on the side of the market. For the fixed income market, the bond side of the market continues to experience some good patronage. We're seeing bullish sentiment there. Demand remained at the short to the mid end of the curve. We saw yields trimming to some 7 basis points yesterday as investors continue to look at the 18th of July 2034 mildly to sell off and then reinvest whatever they could get from there on the short to the mid end of the curve, which is why you saw the likes of April 23, really experiencing some attraction there. The T-bill side of things was a bit mixed, however. Of course, OMO rates yesterday cleared significantly below the previous auction levels. Boson.
Tempo Treasury bills is a very good story on Market Street. I'm going to ask Victor, chairs of FSL Securities, a bit of that later. But it looks like that's where the real action is. Forget stocks for now. That's just market way of saying it. Not that you shouldn't buy stocks. That's not what I'm saying there. But that's where the action really is. Like you said earlier, investors are looking for where there is still some yield to make. The stock market needs some fillip, some tonic, as it were. We thought the listings of MTN and Airtel will give us that, but we've seen since that those two big telcos were really unable to move the market on a sustainable trajectory to the north. Thank you so much, Temple. Get back to us at about 9:50 or so. Then we'll have another chat again. Thank you. Looking at today's opening call, Temple, I charge you.